I was impressed. Got out of the truck on the way up this obstacle and I saw the articulation, and it really was not bad. Hey crew, I've got the key to that 23 Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. We are going to take it for a drive. Well, actually we already have taken it off-road, but we are going to take it on-road as well a bit later. But first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. So this Trail Boss is now its own distinct trim for the new Colorado, whereas before it was sort of a styling package. And with this trim, you get things like this black Chevy bow tie that's textured, this black plastic grille, Trail Boss badge, functional inlets, silver painted lower bumper, and 2 black tow hooks. There are incandescent DRLs and headlights, and then down low we don't have fog lights, but those are available. This paint job is called Nitro Yellow Metallic. It's got a little bit of a green finish to it. That metallic flake is strong here, and it works really well with this newly ultra sculpted hood. At the side, the Trail Boss gets 18-inch gloss black wheels that are as standard wrapped in all-terrain tires. This one has the optional mud terrains that are 32 inches in diameter. These over fenders have notches in them for the Trail Boss. There's gloss black for the mirror caps. Stepping back to look at the profile, the new Colorado's wheelbase has grown by 3.1 inches, and the axles have moved to the further ends of the truck, creating better approach and departure angles. The Trail Boss also gets a factory 2-inch lift, so the truck has 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Get that Trail Boss decal at the rear, along with incandescent taillights and turn signals, plus integrated side steps. There's gloss black for the rear bumper on the Trail Boss, and this one has the advanced trailering package, so you can tow up to 7,700 pounds. Full-size spare tire is underneath. This one has the optional dampened tailgate, which comes down nice and slow, and you can hook these cords so that you can have it propped up so you can hold up things like surfboards or 2x4s. We also have the optional in tailgate storage, 45 inches across here, 4 inches deep, with a drain plug so you could tailgate with some drinks back here or just store some tools. When this is up, it'll hold in whatever you're hauling. And then when it's down, here you can see we've got a 5-foot 2-inch bed with an optional spray-in bed liner. We also have a 3-inch wider track on the Trail Boss relative to the work truck and LT model. And the wider stance with the taller height and the meatier tires really give this truck some presence. What do you guys think though? Is this better or worse looking than a Tacoma Trail Edition? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this black interior with fabric seats as standard. On the doors, hard plastics pretty much everywhere, except we've got some injection molding here for your arm, but not much padding. Power windows. If I want to get in, a grab handle would be nice to make it easier, but it's not so high, especially if you're taller. Behind my own seat at 6 feet tall, I've got a decent little bit of knee room. The foot pockets are big enough to slide my feet under. Thigh support is just sort of okay. Headroom, decent. My head is just nestled against the roof. It's not pressed against it uncomfortably, so that gets the thumbs up from me. There are 2 cup holders here. You've got air vents, no USB ports or DC outlet or even an AC socket. Those are all optional. To get into the middle seat, drive shaft hump, not too much of a problem. And here I've got, again, a little bit of knee room, and my head clears the roof. If you don't have a middle passenger, there's not an armrest to come down or cup holders. Let's check out the front. Door close noise. Little pop to it, but still sounds pretty well built. The driver's seat is power adjusting as an option. The passenger seat is manual adjusting. The front doors, same materials going on as the back. Still some injection molding here, still not enough padding. The driver's window is 1 touch up down, and you get power adjusting and power folding door mirrors. Stepping in, once again, I'd love a grab handle. Let me turn on the truck to show you both of these screens. So you get a standard and 8-inch digital gauge cluster that is reconfigurable by pressing this button here. And we have a standard 11.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system that's very quick responding. It's running the Google operating system, and it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There is a volume knob, and then we have these 2 dials to control your single zone of climate, 3 tabs, start stop system, hazards, and lane keep assist. Beneath that, 2 USB ports, 1A, 1C, a camo design pad for your smartphone to go, but it is not the wireless charging pad that is available. Injection molding for your gear selector and for your steering wheel. Wish this was leather wrapped. Gloss black around the gear selector is a bummer because it's in a spot that's going to smudge, scratch, and collect dust easily. Your drive mode selector and 2-speed transfer case settings are here, and there's a textured rubber housing around it. 2 cup holders, some padding for your armrest, and under that we've got 2 levels of storage. Visibility is pretty good, and you can fold down those rear headrests, and that is the sliding rear window as an option. No standard blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic, but it is equipped to this truck. I think this is a big upgrade for the Colorado. The tech is awesome, the space is great, and the features are solid even for what is an entry-level truck that has some off-road goodies. And speaking of off-road, let's go take the Colorado Trail Boss for a drive. All right, we're starting off in the Trail Boss in that same nitro yellow color as the truck right in front of us. And we have as an option mud terrain tires on this vehicle, not these standard all-terrains. They're still in the same 18-inch wheels and still the same diameter. And we will begin in 4-wheel drive high. You select that here by pressing these buttons, and then you select your drive mode from there by turning the dial. So the difference between terrain and the off-road mode is apparently that the off-road setting, as you can see this information thing here, it'll tell you that this is for low traction surfaces, slippery things, grass, mud, gravel, and deep snow are their examples. And then if we go over to terrain, this one is more for crawling situations, and it will tell you when to use 4-wheel drive low in those certain circumstances if you're not aware. Then from here, if you need to use the hill descent control, we go out here and hit the truck icon, then go to drive and park and toggle that on or off. It's unfortunate that you have to hunt around in the menus to the extent that you do. But then we also have these cool screens showing you different relevant off-road information, including an altimeter over here, and your compass, and your pitch and roll rather. So with that, we're into drive. And the Trail Boss is based on the work truck and comes equipped with the mid-level engine, unlike the work truck, which starts with the entry-level motor. I should say they're the same powertrain, but they're tuned differently. And in fact, the mid-level motor compared to the low-level one has more advanced components in the engine, in addition to a software update that gives it that 310 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque compared to the entry-level outputs, 237 horsepower and 259 pound-feet. Both are mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. The Trail Boss comes standard with the transfer case and the 4-wheel drive system, whereas the work truck is standard with the rear-wheel drive setup. And the mid-level of output, with all of that torque, and with the peak torque being developed as early as 3,000 RPM, is highly usable in an environment like this. Chevy was adamant about making this new engine because it's the only powertrain they're offering for the Colorado. No more diesel, no more NAV6, no more 4-cylinder base motor. They wanted this one motor to be able to produce more torque and more power than their other engine options from the predecessor. And so we've got 390 pound-feet here, and you can have up to 430. That's standard in the ZR2 and upgradable in the other trims. You can go to your dealership and get that software update and bump you from 390 to 430. It's super easy to meter out the power in this truck. There's good throttle sensitivity here in the, what did I say? We're in terrain. Now we're going back. By the way, did I tell you I'm joined by James Riswick?
Hello.
You guys are like, there are a pair of legs in this video. Yes, James Riswick of Cars.com is here with me.
Autoblog.
Autoblog, my mistake. Sorry, James. You were with Cars.com, right?
Nope.
Never.
Nope.
I know nothing.
That's okay.
I apologize. Autoblog.
Are we in tow haul mode?
We might be now. Did I leave it in tow haul?
No, you were in tow haul mode before.
If I started in tow haul, that's embarrassing.
Well, it goes to show that perhaps you don't really need
It doesn't matter.
the terrain mode for this particular bit of terrain.
Yeah, this is not an ultra challenging track that we're on. I am now in off-road mode, which is great for low traction surfaces. Still in four-wheel drive high. And thankfully none of what we've done so far required a specific mode. Brake pedal is also easy to modulate. Not too grabby so you don't break traction too easily and create a slide on a steeper downhill. As I experienced on-road with both the work truck and the LT trim of this truck, if you missed that, I did a first drive video with those two engines and those two trims. Go check that out. But as I experienced on-road, here off-road, the ride compliance is excellent. Solid rear axle, independent front suspension, coilovers in the front, leaf springs in the rear. And it doesn't hit you with those harsh impacts. You bounce over them, and of course you still need to be judicious with your momentum as you come into a rut. But if you mistakenly missed something, your spine isn't going to be fractured by the impact. Off-road cameras. You got a front-facing view, really high resolution for these cameras, and that is so useful because when you get into a grainy camera system off-road, you have no idea what you're looking at. You can't tell the topography of things. But when it's high resolution like this, you can pick out those obstacles very clearly. You can also see a rear view. Someone's following you. In our case, we've got another Colorado. I think that's the Z71, might be another Trail Boss. And then furthermore, we've got wheel shots. If you're worried about scraping up those tires or puncturing one. And then we can go into here. Oh no, this one doesn't have what we were just seeing in the Z71. There's another set of camera angles that you can equip, including an underbody camera. So you can see exactly what you're going over. And there's also a low-level front camera that you can get that, when not covered in mud like ours was, is quite useful. And this is about as steep a descent as we're going to see today. So I'm going to activate the hill descent control, which means that I can take my foot off the gas and brake, and the truck will take care of those things for me. You adjust your speed with this toggle here for the cruise control, so you can set it up to, I don't know how fast you can go, but they're in 1 mile per hour increments. Right now we're at 5 miles per hour, which is a nice steady pace down. And this is useful if you are really not experienced off-roading and you face a very steep decline and you're worried that if you're too urgent on the brake pedal, you could break that traction and start a slide. That's when the very even braking of hill descent control, I said even and it went, is going to be of benefit. So we are now arriving at our big obstacle in the Colorado, which is basically going to be some deeper ruts that we're going to have to navigate. Now I was impressed, got out of the truck on the way up this obstacle and I saw the articulation, and it really was not bad. We're now hanging a tire, which going downhill, not a problem, I'm just basically using the brake, but going uphill, when I was hanging the tire, it was great because you were still applying power, and the limited slip differential in the rear was detecting that and immediately reapplying it to the tire that did have traction. And so, whereas unlike in the Toyota Tacoma, where it's a locking differential, you hit a button when you're like, okay, I need more traction, I need to stop wasting power to a tire. Here, we've got a limited slip differential, so it's detecting that for you and then reapportioning that power. All right, transitioning now on road. Well, I suppose we're on gravel at this moment. I want to do things that I didn't have a chance to do yet, like the turning radius test. So I'm going to crank it. And I think that's just about average for mid-size pickup trucks. Let's do the world-famous horn test next. Perky. It's a perky horn sound. And turn signal sound. It's rather gentle. I like that. With more room to run, the 310 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque we have available to us means that it doesn't require much throttle to easily get up to speed. And as you dig in further, the transmission, the 8-speed auto, is ready to downshift. You can kind of finesse it so that you hear that turbocharger compressor even amidst the 4-cylinder noise. And they did try to make this 4-cylinder sound more like a truck motor than in the previous generation Colorado. And so it has like this clatter almost like a diesel motor. The on-road manners are solid, even on the mud terrain tires. There's play to the steering and not a ton of feedback, but there's enough of it that I can place the truck easily within the lane markings. And even on this lifted suspension, there isn't some heavy lean here that we have to combat or worry about. The ride compliance is excellent. Wind noise does pick up more, and the hum from the mud trains is here. The seat is comfortable. Visibility is stellar. I get this impression that the Colorado would suit a lot of people in a variety of applications. If you bought this as your single vehicle for your family and you wanted to go on adventures and go camping and do some trail running, you could do that easily. It has the space now, the longer wheelbase, a little more cabin volume, passenger volume. It's composed on the road. This powertrain, especially in this mid-level flavor that we get for the Trail Boss, is plenty potent when you need it. Now, what is the Trail Boss going to cost you? Is it worth the money over the entry-level work truck? Let's talk about it. So the work truck starts around $30,000, and it does come standard with the entry-level flavor of this 2.7 turbo, making 237 horsepower, 259 pound-feet of torque. And if you wanted to, at the work truck level, upgrade to this mid-level output, that would be about $1,285. If you wanted the four-wheel drive system, that'd be another $3,300. And so quickly you're getting towards the starting figure of the Trail Boss, which is $38,000. And with the Trail Boss, you get some of those exterior details that help it look more like a meaty pickup truck and something you could be kind of proud to drive, in addition to the actual off-road goodies, the all-terrain tires as standard, the mud terrain tires available to it, the lifted ride height, the additional ground clearance. I think this is actually a pretty high value package here, and you can, as this truck is equipped, add in some niceties like the sliding rear window and the power driver's seat to make it more of a family friendly, or rather just at least a daily driver friendly vehicle. This one, as tested, is about $43,000. And I could see that feeling a little expensive for fabric seats, but when you're thinking about the hardware, when you're thinking about the capability mixed with the composure and compliance of this new platform, the suspension, and this excellent powertrain with all that it delivers, I don't think that's a crazy high price point. When you're looking outside of the Colorado lineup, thinking about competitors, we've got things like the Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road, or even the Trail Edition. You've got the Ford Ranger XLT FX4. You've got the Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. There are quite a few options. All of them start around that $38,000 price point. And I think that with the changes that Chevy has made to this Colorado and all of these new technologies and all the versatilities, it's a pretty high value there. This is just a first drive of the Trail Boston, so I'm not going to reach a verdict, though I will say that they've brought this truck right up to the forefront and really towards the pinnacle of this segment. Which would you guys choose, though? Would you go with the Chevy Colorado Trail Boss? Would you go with the Tacoma TRD Off-Road? Would you go with the Ford Ranger XLT FX4? Or would you go with the Nissan Frontier Pro 4X? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this POV first drive. If you did, please like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell to get notified. And I'll see you next time.